A terror behind the mirrors, the curse of Bloody Mary. Some legends are passed down from generation to generation, while others are whispered in the dark on a terrifying night. But the legend of Bloody Mary, it seeps into your soul. So do you dare to uncover the truth behind the mirrors? Mary lived in a quiet and peaceful village in 18th century England. She lost her mother at a young age and had a lonely childhood. However, Mary's beauty was the talk of the village. With her long, silky hair, flawless skin, and sparkling eyes, she seemed like a character straight out of a fairy tale. But the jealous women of the village did not like Mary. The men in the village admired her from afar, and this attention made the women resentful. Mary, however, was uninterested in their admiration and preferred her solitude. She spent her days gathering flowers and wandering through the forest. One day, Mary fell mysteriously ill. Red spots appeared on her skin, and her face began to swell. The illness rapidly worsened, leaving no trace of her former beauty. The villagers saw her condition as a curse. Some even claimed that Mary had made a pact with dark forces to attain her beauty. One day, a child from the village went missing. The child's family searched everywhere and eventually went to Mary's house. However, they found no one there. They did, however, discover a ring of red candles in front of a mirror inside her home. The villagers became certain that Mary was a witch. An angry mob captured Mary. Without trial, they tied her to a stake in the village square and prepared to execute her. Mary screamed in protest, trying to defend herself. "This was your doing. The curse will not be on me, but on you." But no one listened. Her final words echoed as a curse. "My soul will live within the mirrors. Anyone who calls my name will see the deepest face of terror." After Mary's death, strange things began happening in the village. Mirrors became a source of fear. People claimed to see Mary's shadow in the mirrors. Her face would suddenly appear, causing children to scream and run away. It didn't take long for the villagers to realize they couldn't escape this curse. The village was soon abandoned. Mary's story faded into legend. But years later, a group of teenagers decided to revive the tale as a scary game. Sarah and her friends gathered one evening after school to try it out. Sarah was the bravest among them. "It's just a legend," she said with a laugh. "Let's try it. If it's scary, we'll have something to talk about all night." That night, they gathered in a dark house. The game required entering the bathroom with only a candle, standing in front of a mirror, and saying Mary's name 3 times. Sarah volunteered to go first. While the others waited outside the door, Sarah entered the dark bathroom. Standing before the mirror in the candlelight, she smiled faintly and began to speak. "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." At first, nothing happened. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling a bit relieved. But a few seconds later, the candlelight flickered. A reflection moved in the mirror. Sarah realized that the movement wasn't hers. Her eyes widened. The face staring back at her was not her own. From the mirror, a scarred face with decayed skin, and Mary's haunting eyes gazed at her. Her blood-red eyes locked onto Sarah's. Mary spoke in a cold whisper. "You called me. Now you'll stay with me." Sarah screamed and tried to leave the bathroom, but the door was locked. Her friends outside struggled to open it, while strange rustling sounds and muffled laughter came from inside. When they finally broke the door down, Sarah was gone. The bathroom was empty, but on the mirror, written in blood, were the words, "Those who call me will stay with me." Sarah's disappearance left her friends deeply shaken. Over the following days, they began to fear mirrors. Each of them claimed to see Mary's shadow or her blood-red eyes whenever they looked into one. The fear consumed them entirely. Not long after, Sarah's closest friend, Emily, whispered into a mirror, "Mary, please leave us alone." But the mirror responded with a chilling laugh and an unsettling truth. "You summoned my curse. This is just the beginning of your end." Is this story real or just a legend? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain. Bloody Mary's name continues to echo behind the mirrors. And one night, if you dare to call her, there may be no way back. Tonight, when you stand before a mirror, beware. Mary may still be there. So do you dare to say her name? If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to our channel for more chilling tales. See you in the next video. Farina, Whispers of the Shadows. Willow Creek, a small town, was always famous for its tranquility. However, the old abandoned mansion on the outskirts of the town cast a dark shadow over this piece. The townsfolk avoided the mansion at all costs. Every night, strange lights would seep through its windows, and whispers could be heard drifting on the wind. People said a tragedy had occurred there, and the mansion was cursed. One night, Emily, Mark, and Jake, three of the town's youth, gathered with their friends. Emily, brave but a little arrogant, couldn't help but laugh when some of her friends admitted to being scared of the ghost stories about the mansion. She issued a daring challenge. "Don't be such cowards. It's just an old ruin. I bet we can spend one night there." Mark and Jake, always in awe of Emily's boldness, agreed, partly out of admiration, partly not wanting to seem weak. The plan was simple. They would enter the mansion at midnight, stay inside for 1 hour, and leave. The mansion stood eerily under the moonlight. Its walls were moss-covered, its windows broken, and the wind blowing through created haunting howls. The group, holding a trembling flashlight, stepped inside. The air was heavy with mildew. Every step they took on the wooden floor sent out sharp creaks. Emily kept her composure and moved toward the living room. She noticed old portraits covering the walls. They depicted a family, a woman, a man, and a little girl. However, the faces in the portraits were strangely blurred, as though they had faded over time. "See, it's just an old house," Emily said, though her voice quivered slightly. At midnight, something strange happened. The air in the room grew even colder. Shivering, Jake asked, "Is a window open?" But there were no open windows. Then a faint whisper echoed through the room. "Find us!" The group froze. Emily shouted, "Who's there?" But no one answered. The whispers multiplied as though several voices were speaking at once. The words were unclear, but the chilling melody of the whispers sent shivers down their spines. Mark dropped his flashlight in panic. "This was a bad idea. Let's get out of here," he exclaimed. Determined to uncover the source of the whispers, Emily moved toward an old wardrobe in the corner of the room. The door was slightly ajar. Despite her friend's protests, she opened it. Inside was a music box, its surface stained with dried blood. Yet it was still faintly playing an eerie tune. When Emily picked it up, the whispers suddenly stopped. But the silence was even more frightening. Suddenly, shadows began to shift in the corners of the room. They started to take human-like forms and move toward the group. Jake, terrified, yelled, "We need to get out of here!" But the door slammed shut as if by an unseen force. The shadows grew closer. In desperation, Emily threw the music box to the ground. It shattered, causing the shadows to pause briefly. But the pause didn't last long. One by one, the shadows engulfed them. By morning, the townsfolk learned that the teens had gone to the mansion. However, neither the police nor the elders who searched the house could find any trace of them. All that remained were the shattered pieces of the music box. From that day on, the whispers from the mansion grew louder. It is now said that among the whispers, the voices of Emily, Mark, and Jake can be heard. The people of Willow Creek always warn visitors. If you go to the mansion, don't listen to the whispers. Once you hear them, you'll join them. And even now at midnight, shadows continue to dance behind the windows of the old mansion.